Yeah, sure.
Travis Gilmore with the Epoch Times. Do the actions and intentions of the Chinese Communist Party constitute a national security threat? Have they worsened over the last 3 years, and how can we deter these threats?
Don't take it from me. Listen to Xi's actual language and rhetoric. He is telling his country to prepare for war. His words. He told the 20th Party Congress, the storm is coming, and we have to get ready. They have an active program in place called CivMil Fusion, where you steal civilian technologies that you can then hand over to the military. The Chinese military is now, or the Chinese Navy is now larger than the U.S. Navy. They're tripling their nuclear arsenal, tripling it in size and lethality. They launched more into space a few years ago than the rest of the world combined. They're on track with this no limits partnership with Russia to put a manned station on the moon. But everything they do in space has a military component behind it. That's not just finding brave new worlds. There's a military aspect to it. So I am incredibly concerned, and I think we have a lot more to learn about Walz's engagement with China, these paid trips that he was making over and over and over again. These what relationships has he still established? Could he even get a security clearance today if he had to? And then Harris, I think, still has that old view of if we just engage them a little bit more, if we just share enough economically and technologically, then eventually they'll change. No, they are going to continue to take advantage and to make gains, and we need to appreciate the true danger of this competition that we're in. President Trump certainly does. I think history is going to look back at his first administration and say he's the one that led the shift. It was his national security strategy that came out and said, this is both China and Russia, great power competition, no longer terrorism is our greatest threat. And what President Trump knows and deeply appreciates is that, yes, our military has to be strong, but it's our economy that is our greatest strength. And that's why he took such bold action in terms of tariffs, in terms of, look at how he dealt with Iran. He said, you know what? He dealt with Iran by dealing with China. He looked at China and said, if you don't stop buying their oil and filling their coffers full of cash in violation of international sanctions, you can't buy from us. And you know what? China listened, and Iran was broke, and their terrorist proxies were broke, and you had peace in the Middle East. So President Trump went to the core root of the problem, rather than what Biden and Harris have right now, which is our military chasing its tail in the Red Sea and in the Persian Gulf or in the Arabian Gulf and in the Mediterranean. The aircraft carrier that is currently sitting off Iran was diverted from the Pacific. So she has cheap Iranian oil. He has our military bogged down in the Middle East again. He's buying just as much gas from Russia because of our feckless sanctions there than he ever was. China, right now, under Harris and under Biden, is the big winner. We literally can't afford, nor can we, I think, our national security sustain another, God help us, another 4 years of this. I see it every day as a member of the Intelligence Committee. Our adversaries right now are licking their chops. I'm worried about the next couple of months, much less the next 4 years.
Ben Bertwam, Real American Voice News. And kind of a spin-off of that question, from a strategic threat assessment, what's more concerning to you, the tie with Waltz and Harris to communism, the jihadists, pro-jihadist sympathizers of the base of the Democrat Party that are behind Hamas and Hezbollah, or our open southern border that we're inviting into?
Yes, yes, and yes. I believe the Chinese Communist Party has the intent, the economic size, and are developing the military capability to literally change our way of life. That's the long-term existential threat. But the God help us, a boom from a suicide bomb or another attack like we had in Pulse nightclub and almost just had again, those 8 ISIS operatives that were rolled up. That's the near threat. So I look at it as kind of the threats from abroad and then the termite from within. And the anti-American, really not only protests, but what was reflected on our college campuses, with college administrators condoning, if not looking the other way, that are teaching our next generation that the United States is not a force for good, that is inherently racist, misogynist, and colonialist. That is as much of a threat. I mean, that's basically parroting what the Chinese Communist Party is saying in their propaganda. And to, literally laugh that off, as Kamala Harris has done, and to sit before Xi and his people with this parade of Biden administration cabinet officers begging for more help with climate change, while the Chinese Communist Party are opening a new coal-fired power plant every week. And these aren't small plants. I mean, these things are going to be around 20, 30 years that, oh, by the way, are running on Russian coal. I mean, think of the irony there. I can show you photographs of the largest solar panel factory in the world is in Western China, run on slave labor, where a genocide, a real genocide, is actually happening. And if you follow the transmission lines, that solar panel factory is being powered by coal. It's a joke, if it weren't so serious. So, yes to all of the above.